up, guys? It's your boy, Barca Boy 103. Today we're going to be reacting to the Barcelona news over the past 48 hours, where there is a lot of topics to discuss and some big ones as well. First of all, Gundogan has been officially announced as a new Barcelona signing, and the reason why he was announced so early is because Barcelona want to send a message to Brozovic. They are begging him to wait for Barcelona. Again, there is an agreement between Inter Milan and Al Nassr fully for Brozovic. It is now down to the player's final yes. Will they give it or not? That remains to be seen. But of course, the club do have backup options, and the backup options for the pivot for Brozovic are Dani Parejo and Oriol. Romeu, the club have already contacted and offered Dani Parejo a contract, where Romeu is lingering in the background as an alternative as well. Both could come in, neither could come in, one of them could come in, but the club are attentive to their situations. Along with the pivot, of course, the club want to sign out right back to the summer, with Ivan Fesneda and Joao Cancelo both leading the race. We have updates on their situation as well. But of course, the main topic around Barcelona, for people to be signed, people have got to leave. We have updates on the sales. Lenglet, Dest, Umtiti. The main was, of course, Collado, Gustavo Maya, maybe even Nico Gonzalez, and we also have some news around other players being sold from the first team, like Ansu Fati, From Kessié, Ferran Torres, and maybe even Jules Koundé or Frankie de Jong. But there has been a shocking and big exit of a Barcelona player over the past 24 hours. We will discuss that, and also an update on our Joan Gamper match, the opponent, the stadium, and also the date as well. But before we get into it, make sure you guys smash that like button down below. Let's try to get to 200 likes this video. Be very much appreciated. And also, if you're new, make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Now, before we get into the video, this video is sponsored by Number One Foot. Number One Foot is one of the best jersey football replica websites on the market. They have a variety of items at fantastic prices. I have here some with me. Firstly is the home kit for this season. Excellent quality. The badge is nice and smooth. Spotify logo is printed on to perfection, and I also even have a jacket as well. This is one of the training jackets that the players wear. There's a logo there on the right hand side, zipper and everything. They have some badges here, the Nike logo as well. The quality is absolutely, feels real, and also the prices are unbeatable. And if you use the discount code BOY at checkout, you do get an additional 15% off your orders. That's BOY. Use that checkout, you get 15% off your order, and all orders above $80 as well will get free shipping. So what are you waiting for? Top link down in the description down below, and get your new football kits today. Let's start off with the transfer news over the past 48 hours. The first topic that we're going to discuss is an official statement from the club announcing the official signing of Ilkay Gundogan. This came as a shock, especially with the timing, because we weren't expecting it to be, this early. But the club released an official statement saying that Barcelona will sign Ilkay Gundogan. He will join for 2 seasons until June 30th, 2025, with the option of extending it for another year. He'll have a release clause of 400 million euros, and the club will shortly let us know when his official presentation will be taking place. Now, of course, for that extra year to extend, he needs to play 60% of the matches in his second year. Wages are around about 150 to 175,000 euros per week, according to reports. But nonetheless, Ilkay Gundogan officially coulé. Of course, fantastic signing. But again, the main topic about this has been the timing. Why is it now? We thought that Gundogan was going to come back after his holiday and do it. Of course, still under contract with Man City until June 30th. Was going to do it afterwards. But there was a tactical reason why the club announced it now. And according to Javi Miguel from AES, he came out saying that Gundogan's official announcement today is being used by Barcelona as a strategy to convince Marcelo Brozovic to join the club. We are serious and we'll be able to register you, is the message. So of course, Gundogan, you already know my thoughts on him. Go check out my other videos, my confirmed Gundogan signing as well. But let's now discuss Brozovic's transfer and whether or not this tactic actually worked. Now, the news around Marcelo Brozovic at the moment is that his signing for Barcelona is complicated. Let's now get into the details. First, coming in from Mateo Morita from Renew, he came out saying that Barcelona are still attentive to Marcelo Brozovic, but Inter Milan want to close the deal quickly with Al Nassr for the player. The Saudi delegates will arrive in Milan in the afternoon or evening yesterday, which they did. The will of the player, though, will be important. And the Marca confirmed that Al Nassr and Inter Milan have reached an agreement for the transfer of Brozovic for 23 million euros. Ben Aid came out saying that Inter prefers Saudi Arabia's offer, of course, and Barcelona doing everything possible to change the mind. The final decision of the player, whose decision will not be delayed. Then Roger Solero from Deportivo came out saying that Barcelona has not given up yet on the signing of Marcelo Brozovic. Then Mateo Merino from Renewal came out saying that Barcelona also is not going to be giving up on Marcelo Brozovic, but right now it's really complicated because Inter are in a hurry to sell him because, of course, the financial calendar year will be ending on June 30th. Only a definitive no from the player could change the ending. Xavi's putting pressure on Marcelo Brozovic, asking him for time for Barcelona to make an official offer. Again, Mateo Merino also confirmed there is a total agreement between Al Nassr and Inter Milan for Brozovic for 23 million euros, but the player has not given the green light yet, and Barcelona still has not given up on this player signing either. DiMarzio came out saying that the meeting between Marcelo Brozovic's representatives, Al Nassr and Inter Milan, has taken place and has concluded. The parties are close, and the Saudi club expects to close the operation this week. Brozovic, on the other hand, is currently deciding his own future. So right now, it's in the hand of the player. If he wants to wait and bank on Barcelona coming in the next couple of weeks, he can wait, or he can make that direct transfer straight away right now to Al Nassr. That decision will be coming very, very soon, and we'll have to wait and see. I think Barcelona on their part done everything they can. They've talked to the player. They've tried to convince his agents on his side. Yes, there has been no contact with Inter Milan, or no concrete contact. Maybe there was from Casillas' name brought up. We know the price is around 23 million euros. Maybe you can do 19 with a few add-ons or anything like that. But it's now down to the player. We'll wait and see how things develop over the next few days. Again, his decision will be coming in soon. Again, full agreement between Al Nassr and Inter Milan for the transfer. If he gives the yes, that'll be done in under 24 hours, probably under 12 hours, you could say. But if Brozovic says no, then the situation will continue on and the saga will be dragged on for a few more weeks. But now it is all on the player to decide. Now, with the Marcelo Brozovic operation becoming more complicated, the club now have dabbled into the alternative option, which is, of course, DaniParejo. Joan has come out saying that DaniParejo to Barcelona is a hot option at the moment. Mateo Merino from Olivo came out saying that DaniParejo is a real option for Barcelona. He has a clause in his contract that allows him to leave for free if he wants. Parejo right now is very happy with Villarreal, and because he's leaving, he would not like to leave for free, which again is to be helping out Villarreal in some sense. Joan has come out saying that Barcelona have already made contact and already made an offer to DaniParejo. It is a 1-year deal with an option of another year, but the player wants 2 years guaranteed on his contract. A few days ago, Parejo and Xavi spoke on the phone. The option of Parejo would be triggered as soon as Marcelo Brozovic makes his decision officially in the next few hours. And if Brozovic chooses the Saudi offer, Parejo could arrive for free, and Oriol Romeu could arrive with a low price. We cannot rule out both the arrivals at the club. Now, the news on Oriol Romeu is the exact same. Gigantes came out saying that DaniParejo and Oriol Romeu are the two favorites for the DM signing. However, Barcelona are still trying to work on Zubimendi and Brozovic. Joan came out saying that Oriol Romeu has a 10 million euro release clause, which can be further reduced. There are reports saying that the club could, include players in the operation, whether that's players right now on the team who we don't want, like a Dest or a Nico on loan, or it could be B team players. You never know. Finally, Goal came out saying that Oriol Romeu is a player from Barcelona's midfield and that Barcelona will go for him. So it looks like the consensus right now is that DaniParejo is the alternative option to Brozovic. Again, Barcelona, keep this in mind. It's very, very crucial. They want him for free. That is the most important thing. Yes, DaniParejo could say it's all going to be down to the player. If he says, "Oh, give Villarreal a fee," then the club will have to give it free. But if you leave for free, Villarreal cannot stop that. So it's going to be down to the player. Again, a lot of these moves for Barcelona come down to the player. DaniParejo is better than no one. Of course, that's the reality of it. The club is still very, very in a tight financial situation. Players are not being sold. So this is the option that we're left with. That's the reality. I think DaniParejo can, do a year at the club. But then when you're adding Oriol Romeu on top of it, for me, that's when the issue comes in. Because you're betting on 2 35-plus-year-olds. Why not just give Nico a run? We'll talk about Nico later on, but why not even give a Casado a run? There's no point in investing in 2 absolutely finished players. Yes, Romeu can do a job for a year. Yes, Parejo can do a job for a year or 2, but why go in for both? Bring in one, that's fine, experience, makes sense, not fuss about it. Both is where I have the issue. So we'll wait and see. Of course, I prefer DaniParejo because he's miles younger. He's been playing at the top level for a very long time with Real in Europe. So Oriol, Romeu, Southampton relegation, then Girona, not really the level that I'm looking for. So of course the profile is there though. So we'll wait and see how things develop. I do think the club will sign Dani Parejo if the Brozovic operation does fail, which I think unfortunately in the end it will. So we'll wait and see how things develop. But again, once the Brozovic decision comes in, the club will then go for Parejo and also possibly Oriol Romeu as well. Now, a player who the club are very interested in signing, but that deal has become complicated for some sort of reason, has been the signing of Arda Guler. We've all been noticing the club will be signing somewhat of a creative midfielder, whether it's Lo Celso or Arda Guler. Arda Guler on paper is a very cheap option than Lo Celso, but apparently the club did not want to go for him because he's expensive. But now we know the reasons behind that. Matteo Morito came out saying that Arda Guler's father wants a commission of 20 million euros. This is a stumbling block to a transfer, and it's not his 17 million euro release clause. Barcelona, Milan, and other clubs are interested. So let me get this straight. Not only does Fenerbahce want his release clause, which of course is understandable, but his father wants the release clause paid to him as well. Man, this is what football's coming to. So technically on paper, Arda Guler is costing you around 40 million euros. You know, Haaland went on paper to 60 to Man City, but we all know that's not the case. He at least had 100 in commissions. That was 160, but on paper 60. This will be on paper 20, but we all know this will cost around 40, which I wouldn't do. I think 40 is too much. I think you can get two players for that, whether it's Lo Celso, Cancelo, Fresneda, Vitor Roque. You can get mix and match. Maybe DaniParejo, you can chuck him in there as well. Brozovic as well. You can get two players for that price. Ain't no way I'm going one player at 40 million for Arda Guler, especially with his father asking for this much commission. It's just ridiculous at this point. But it's his son, so fair enough too. So we'll wait and see with Arda Guler. But the reason why his transfer will be complicated is because his father is asking for around 20 million euros in commission for his son's transfer. Now, along with the midfield, another position that Barcelona plan to make signings in is going to be in the right back position, where Joaquin Parejo from Sport has come out saying that a maximum of 10 to 15 million euros can be invested in the right back position, which, to be honest, is a decent amount. I thought it would be a bit lower. I thought it was going to be in the region of 5 to 10, but 10 to 15 nonetheless is still a good option. As we all know, the number one priority for the right back position is Joao Cancelo. Joan has come out saying that Joao Cancelo is still in Barcelona's plans. The club is currently talking with Man City, but the issue is that Cancelo's economic demands are way too high. If he does not lower his demands, it'll be difficult for him to arrive. So apparently that means that Cancelo is asking for a lot of money in terms of wages, which is something that's down to the player. If he changes that, then something becomes way more easier, whether you do a loan or you give City 15 million euros with a buy option, 50 million euro loan fee for 2 years, maybe something like that, with a buy option of around 30. So that means you make it 45, 50 in total. But the issue is that Cancelo is asking for quite a bit. I think he's probably asking for a Lewandowski salary, around 200,000 euros per week is what I expect that he's asking. That's what he's currently on at Man City, so he's going to have to lower that to, I think, 120, maybe 150. The club can squeeze it on a loan deal, paying less in transfer money, but if they want to transfer him, it becomes difficult. The backup option for Joao Cancelo is, of course, Ivan Fesneda. His name has been coming up a lot in the media over recent days, and apparently the reason behind that, according to Jordan, is that the president, Joan Laporta, has a great relationship with Fresneda's agent, and this could potentially facilitate his arrival. So Laporta and Fresneda's agents have a good connection, and this, a little bit of a Jorge Mendes 2.0. That's why we're in for Fresneda. Good price as well. We have 15 million euros to spend. He has a 20 million euro release clause. You can maybe offer the Valladolid less of the release clause, and they've been relegated. They need some money, so that could be a possibility as well. So the options are there. I do hope the club end up signing a right back because we desperately need it. Again, I do hope for Joao Cancelo, but if that offer and if that possibility isn't a reality, then I would definitely settle for Ivan Fesneda. Now, a player who Barcelona have essentially already signed this summer, just waiting for the final confirmation, is Vitor Roque, who will come in the number 9 position to provide coverage and competition for Robert Lewandowski. Now, Roger Tondero from Deportivo came out saying that Barcelona and Atletico Paranaense plan to finish off the deal for Vitor Roque this week, following which it will be made official. The principal agreement was reached on June the 18th for 35 million euros fixed, plus 10 million euros in variables paid in various installments. Roque will sign a 6-year contract until 2029 with a 1 billion euro release clause, and his salary will not be more than 3 million euros net poor year. Currently, Barcelona's priorities are Ilkay Gundogan and Inigo Martinez and the new pivot, but they don't close the door for Vitor Roque to arrive now. If Barcelona have enough salary space left, then Roque would arrive now and already start adapting to the club and instead of getting more time to do so, or else he would arrive in January. Atletico Palmeiras would accept his departure now, but would prefer that he stays until the winter as they want to fight for the Copa Libertadores with their top scorer. They also want to know whether Barcelona will register him now since the window in Brazil closes on July the 30th and when they would need to sign a replacement. Now, Joan has confirmed this as well. He's come out saying that basically Vitor Roque at some point in the future 100% will become a Barcelona player. Right now, the club do not have the money to pay the fixed fee at the moment. Now, if he arrives in January, I do hope the price does reduce. I get it, you want to sign him now, then you get him later, just, hold him and confirm him, which makes sense to me. But if we're not getting him until January, I'd love to see if the club maybe, salvage 30 fixed plus 10, save that 5 million euros. Once that deal's agreed, it is essentially agreed. And that's the important thing. Full agreement has reached between Barcelona and Atletico Palmeiras for Vitor Roque. He will be a culé, whether it's tomorrow, next month, next week, next year. He will be a Blaugrana. Full agreement has been reached. The question now is when. Let's now discuss the players who have been rumored to leave Barcelona over the past 48 hours. First up, but just in general, it's everyone. Now, the club have 3 more days to get some sales done before the end of the financial year. How they're going to do it, I have no idea. There's still no concrete reports about players leaving, apart from Lenglet, where Tottenham have offered around 5 million. It's just about Barcelona accepting it or not. I do believe the club will make a sale in the next few days. I think it will be very, very sporadic. I think the club will say, you know what, screw it, just get rid of them. Bish, bash, bosh. I think that's what's going to happen. But to get fees and get deals that we want, I think it will be very, very complicated. Now, Sport have come out saying that Barcelona want to seal the exits of Clement Lenglet, Umtiti, Alex Collado, and Sergino Dest before June the 30th. I think all that is impossible, but a few of them wouldn't rule out. They also plan on getting rid of Gustavo Maya, and in total they would save around 50 million euros in salary next season, but time is running out, and that's the issue. I do think the club will get at least one done in some capacity. Who? I would bet on Lenglet, I guess, because that's the most advanced one. But in reality, the club must and need to get rid of all of them. Dest, Umtiti, Lenglet, Collado, Gustavo Maya, they have to get rid of all of them. Whether it's for free in terms of their contracts, it may come down to that. I'm not quite too sure. But the issue is you need time to sell. I get it. But the club have been kind of slacking recently in the last few days. There's been no advancement whatsoever. Look at my last few videos. There's been no sales updates whatsoever. So we'll wait and see. But I do expect in the next 48, 72 hours for the club to sell someone. Or not sell. Let me rephrase that. Get rid of someone. We'll have to wait and see who it is. Now, one of those players who went out on loan that could end up, making Barcelona some sort of profit, he could end up being sold, is Nico Gonzalez. Now, Jordan's come out saying that Xavi does not see Nico Gonzalez as a pivot, so he'll most likely either be loaned or be sold this summer. So the club will not see him coming in to be a backup pivot or even start the pivot because they don't see him as a pivot in general. Now, Roger Toledo from Mundo Deportivo has come out saying that Real Betis are insisting to sign Nico Gonzalez on loan. Ramon Planes is a great endorser, but Barcelona would prefer a sale to help with the finances but having control over his future. And Xavi sees Nico as an interior, more as a pivot. So the club originally wanted to loan Nico, then come back into the squad the following season, but now with the financial situation, they are considering a sale, but they want to have some control in his future, whether that's a buyback option or a percentage of a future sale. They definitely want that included if they do end up selling Nico. Now, if we look at the sales of the loan players from a broader perspective, Dest, Umtiti, Lenglet, Collado, and Nico, those sales are going to be very, very difficult, and of course it won't bring in that much revenue. Now the situation is that the club might even have to dabble into the first team, but the issue is the first team players who the club want to get rid of don't want to leave. Jordan came out saying that Ansu Fati, Franck Kessié, and Ferran Torres need to be sold, but they don't want to listen to any offers. If the club don't sell, the situation of the market will flip on Barcelona. So again, the club needs sales, and with these players, the club that do want to get rid of, whether it's Ferran Torres, Ansu Fati, Franck Kessié, I'm trying to think of anyone off the top of my head really, Pablo Torre, just for instance, these are the players that the club want to get rid of, but they can't leave. and then that it makes Barcelona have to dabble into the players who they don't want to leave to end up leaving. Ben Aid came out saying that Barcelona needs to sell players. In addition to the well-known names like, from Kessie, Ansu Fati, Ferran Torres, Frenkie de Jong's option should not be excluded in the event that a special offer arrives. The obstacle so far is the player prefers to stay in Barcelona. So essentially, I think Ben Aid is using Frenkie de Jong as an example. So the club will have to consider players' exits who they want to keep, whether it's Rafinha, Lewandowski, Frenkie de Jong. Maybe not your Pedris, Gavis, Araujo's, and Baldes, and maybe Andres Christensen, maybe Jules Koundé. I've heard Jules Koundé's name be rumored a few weeks ago. If offers do come in for those players, and I mean good offers, we're not desperate for those players. No, we're not going to sell Frenkie de Jong for 50 million. We're not going to sell Koundé for 50 million. Big offers have to come in. So I think for Frenkie, with I believe 2 or 3 years left on his contract, 100 million minimum. I think Koundé as well, 90 million minimum to sell. If those offers arrive, that's when the situation will be analyzed. The club are not going to force these players out because they don't want to sell them in general. But we'll wait and see. Now there is a report that I think Joan just came out now saying the club will have a meeting tomorrow on Wednesday to discuss the current situation. And again, they need sales in some way, shape, or form. So we'll wait and see what happens over the next 72 hours. It will be crucial. I do expect the club to make one exit. The question is who, but again, we still need many more, mainly those loan players. Dest, Lenglet, Umtiti, Collado, Nico possibly, then Gustavo Maya, and then you can possibly dabble into the first team. We're hearing now that Christensen might come in as a pivot, because we might not sign a pivot, because we're absolutely all over the place. So this is what happens in Barcelona. You have good moments, good couple of weeks. We signed Gundogan and Nico Martinez. Oh, we're back. Oh, we're kind of broke. Oh, we got money. Oh, we're broke. It kind of flips off that way a while. So we'll wait and see what happens. But again, the club are desperate, and I mean desperate, for sales to happen immediately. Now, a player that will not be leaving Barcelona in the imminent future, but he could leave later, maybe deep in the transfer window, is Abde. Now, firstly, Abde is currently on international duty with the under-23 Moroccan team at the AFCON under-23 championship. And apparently Barcelona, we're not too happy about that. Jardimero came out saying that no one told the club that Abde would be joining the Morocco under-23 for the AFCON under-23 championship. There was annoyance over this situation. Ferran Corazon Sport came out confirming this, saying that Barcelona asked Abde not to play against Ghana's under-23. The club does not want to take any risk with the player, who must start preseason with Xavi, but it could also be sold. It will be necessary to see the decision of Abde and Morocco. Now it's going to be a big decision. If he doesn't end up playing against Ghana, that kind of shows that he does not really care about Barcelona, whatnot. And again, the club had no idea he was going to represent Morocco for this championship. Now, Mateo Merito has come out saying that Xavi has requested that he does preseason with the first team, and Abde, we'll see what happens from there. If there's an offer, we'll see how he will resolve his future. So 100%, he will do preseason Abde with Barcelona middle to end of July. Beginning of August is when his future will be analyzed. We'll wait and see if we sell Ferran or Ansu. We'll see how the team is looking. If he can stay, he will stay. But if he can be sold, I think most likely he will go. 30 million euros for Barcelona right now is an absolute gem, and we can't get that from anyone else. I would sell Ferran Torres tomorrow for 30 million. Honestly, but Ferran Torres, 30 million tomorrow, I'll drive him there. I'll drive him from Spain all the way to Russia to sell for 30 million. I swear to God I would. I promise you I would. So getting that for Abde, for a player who doesn't really fit the squad, and maybe we can have some sort of control of his future, buyback option, future sellout clause, that can be huge for Barcelona. So we'll see what happens with the future of Abde, but again, keep your eyes on whether or not he plays with Ghana, and then of course he will be doing preseason with Barcelona, and his future will be decided after the fact. Now, without a shadow of a doubt, the biggest news and shock over the past 24 hours has been the fact that Arnau Tenas is leaving the club. I am getting goosebumps just reading this. Look at that. Look, I mean, when I saw this, my heart dropped because, it was in shock. I could not, and I don't really, no disrespect, but I don't really, care about Arnau Tenas. I think he's a great goalkeeper, great prospect, loves the club. But I just could not believe that has come to this. Now, the news broke from Roberto Roque from Gigantes. He came out saying that Arnau Tenas will not continue at Barcelona. At Barcelona, they see Iñaki Peña more as a backup option to Ter Stegen than Arnau Tenas. So you're having two very good second, third choice goalkeeper. In the end, it makes sense. I wanted Arnau Tenas to say 100% I would have renewed him, but the club, you have to look at it from a point of view. This is why they're in charge. I take everything to heart because I'm a Barcelona fan, but if you look at the broad perspective, he's 22 years old. He's better than a third choice goalkeeper at Barcelona. He should be playing elsewhere, and also financially, it didn't really compete well with Barcelona. Now, when this report came out, keep in mind, Arnau Tenas is with the Spain national team, under 21 Spain national team at the Euros, and he came out confirming this as well in a press conference. He said that, yes, I am leaving Barcelona. The club has decided not to execute my renewal option. I can confirm this. So whether or not the club offer him another contract, maybe, but they will not execute his option that he currently has on his deal. When he was saying this, he looked very sad as well, which, this is a Kool-Aid leaving the club, and it's very, very difficult for him. And then we got more reports about why he left, saying that Barcelona had two options, one to renew Ilkay Gundogan or Arnau Tenas, and not both. We could not renew both, not because we couldn't afford it, because it wasn't really feasible financially for the club. And Ilkay Gundogan has accepted the role as Sergio's backup, but Arnau Tenas is very competitive and is not satisfied with not playing, and that was the issue. So Tenas thought he should be at least second or even first choice, which bit of a stretch. I've seen him play. Look, he's all right, but he's not. I wouldn't start him for Barcelona tomorrow. That's reality. So it's more disappointing to see a player who has huge potential, but who cares and loves his club leaving. We're hearing reports that Almeria and Granada are very interested in him, so he probably will stay in La Liga, and I wish him all the best, man. I definitely do not rule out him coming back in the future. I think in the future, if when Ter Stegen, retires or leaves Barcelona, and Arnau Tenas is doing well, I have no doubt the club will go in for him, and I have no doubt that he'll return. He is a Kool-Aid at heart. It is disappointing to see this, but this is the reality of football, lads. Sometimes it goes your way, and sometimes it doesn't. I wish Arnau Tenas all the best in his future, and I do have high hopes for him coming back to Barcelona in the future. And I do have high hopes of him returning in the future to Barcelona. Let's now discuss some of the contract renewal updates around the first team at Barcelona. Just one update, but it does have a broad perspective. It is on the contract renewal of the first team manager, Xavi Hernandez, and of course his coaching staff as well. Now, Fernando Polo Mundo Deportivo came out saying that Barcelona are still waiting to clear up salary space, not only to register players, but also Xavi's new contract. Xavi hoped that it would have already been closed before June the 30th or at least by July the 10th, but from his entourage, this scenario is not ruled out, but the coach understands the club's problems with the FFP and wants the club to prioritize the registration of key players. One of the negotiation points is that Xavi wants his staff to also get an increase in salary, while the club considers that he should provide the increment to his staff with his pay rise. So Xavi's happy with his salary increase from Barcelona. The club have not increased the salary of his coaching staff. His brother Oscar Hernandez, Sergi Allegri, Ivan Torres, De La Fuente, the coaching goalkeeping coach. So the club have told Xavi, you can use your pay raise and give it to them, but we don't want to give that. While Xavi thinks they should be getting a pay raise. Nonetheless, the contract is agreed between Xavi, whether his coaching contract is for his coaching staff is agreed, yet to be seen. But the day, I cannot wait for the day where registration is not a problem. How in the flying fuck is the registration of our manager a problem and not feasible? This is the rules of La Liga. This is the shit that they put us through. It is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Their rules compared to other leagues is astounding, in my opinion. And it's just to hound down Barcelona because we were in the Super League. Honestly, what I would do is leave the Super League and then come back to Super League once it's officially confirmed and it will not fail. Because what's the point of being in it when it's not actually happening and it's just hindering yourself more? There were reports a few weeks ago that the club were considering leaving the Super League with their poor relationship with Real Madrid for the Negreira case. I think this would be a master show from Laporta. Officially announce a statement, leave the Super League, get that leniency from La Liga, continue for the next few years, and if the Super League comes back, join back in. But if the La Liga make you sign a contract that you'll never join the Super League, that's where the question comes about. Nonetheless, again, wage bill is still an issue. We have to get rid of those players that we talked about, got sell players. But again, Xavi's contract is fully agreed, just pending, of course, for like everything else in this club, registration. Now, since we're on the topic of Javier Tebas, I also want to mention one of the bigger news is coming out. That is the refereeing restructure in La Liga. They released a new list of referees yesterday. Don't really care. Of course, Mateo Lobos has retired. Desel Grande has retired. 3 new referees have come in. Now, with that change, Mundo Deportivo are reporting that La Liga clubs will have to pay around €1 million next season to the league to fund the refereeing costs for the 23-24 season. I just want to take his throat. His throat just like You're putting restraints on us to sign and register players, but you're making us pay for your shit referees, and you don't even have fucking goal line technology. And the league is surrounded by 95% Real Madrid fans. Why is Real Madrid not paying 95%? So they want $1 million from every team. That's 20 million euros. Real Madrid should be paying 19 million of that because all the referees are their fans, so they should be paying the price. Does the league not have money? I hope this. Remember what's the thing that they had that they made us sign? CVC. I hope the CVC deal just goes right into the shits as well. Apparently that's kind of on the ropes. I was nothing but the worst for Javier Tebas, man. I mean, I never thought in my life I'd hate someone more than Bartomeu, but Javier Tebas is pushing it. A couple more years of this and I might go to Spain and deal with it myself. But despite Barcelona not having a transfer budget or difficulties paying fees for players and registration, we have to pay 1 million euros for the freaking referees next season. Now, the final topic that I want to discuss before I end off this video is to give you guys an update on the Joan Gamper match. As we all know, it will be taking place at the Montjuic Stadium, and the opponent will be from Italy. Now, Jaime Miguel from ASK Mal saying the negotiations with Lazio for the Joan Gamper Trophy are very advanced. The match will take place on August the 8th at the Montjuic Stadium. Of course, Lazio do have a Barcelona legend on their hands in Pedro, who is in talks to renew his contract. If he does renew his contract, he'll end up playing that match. But again, it was first Napoli who Barcelona offered to come do the Joan Gamper. They rejected it because they want to stay in Italy for their preseason. Whatever, we've offered to Lazio now, and the negotiations are very, very advanced, and it will be taking place the weekend before La Liga starts, which will of course be August the 8th. So wait and see on that. Again, Montjuic Stadium is confirmed, according to reports. Hopefully the stadium will be ready by then. We can have the match there. Otherwise, we'll have to find a neutral ground somewhere. But Joan Gamper, Montjuic, August the 8th. Lazio is looking very, very strong. So that was my reaction to the Barcelona news over the past 48 hours. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, and of course leave me your thoughts down below in the comments on everything we discussed. The main thing I want to first see, of course, is your thoughts on Brozovic. You think Barcelona will sign him or not? Secondly, on his alternative options in Dani Parejo and Oriol Romeu. Are you happy with that? Is there anyone else that you would go for? And what are your thoughts on Barcelona not going big in the pivot? Thirdly, in the right position, you think we'll end up signing Cancelo or Ivan Fesneda? Maybe even no one. And finally, and most importantly, your thoughts on the sales. Just sales in general. Do you think Barcelona will sell anyone before June the 30th financial year deadline day? Do you think we'll sell anyone in general for considerable amount of money? Do you see Frankie de Jong or maybe a Jules Koundé leaving the club? Let me know your thoughts on Barcelona's sales situation down in the comments below. And of course, make sure to subscribe down below as well if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys next time on the channel. Take care and Forza Barca. Yeah.